Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to one of RVN's new television shows, What the Why with Barbara Ann. Our show features conversations with diverse leaders from all walks of life about why they do what they do and how they figured things out. So whether you're sick and tired of feeling sick and tired, or you feel stuck and want to get unstuck, either in your business or in life, or in your job, all of our guests have something in common with you. At some point in their lives, they felt similarly. And today's guests are no exception. Our guests are Maritza Raimundi Petroski and Paula Figueroa Vega, the co-founders of the MAPA Collaborative. And we're going to be talking about that because that's the main reason they're here. Their company offers expert advice for improved company performance by helping them create strategies, optimize operations, and create a roadmap for professional goals. Maritza is a passionate, energetic, and inspirational executive administrator who I've known for a long time now. I won't age her. But she does have, she sticks to the rules. She has over 20 years of leadership experience in nonprofit management with a deep commitment to service. In addition to being co-founder of the MAPA Collaborative, Maritza also serves as Vice President of Strategic Initiatives, Prevention Programs, and Community Engagement with the Children's Home Society of New Jersey, a nonprofit organization that helps at-risk infants, children, youth, and families achieve their potential. The National Institute for Nonprofit Practice recently named Maritza one of only 50 in the nation as a 2022 change maker, and she's the only one from New Jersey. Maritza holds a Bachelor of Arts double major in Puerto Rican and Hispanic Caribbean Studies in Spanish and a Master's in Public Administration, both of which are from Rutgers University. She has multiple certifications in leadership and diversity, equity, and inclusion, and she volunteers with multiple boards of directors, trustees, and organizations. Not to be outdone, Paula also has dual careers. In addition to being a co-founder of the MAPA Collaborative, she is program manager with New Jersey Waterworks, a large and growing collaborative focused on transforming New Jersey's inadequate water infrastructure. Paula holds a BA in psychology and a master's in public administration, also both from Rutgers University. She also has certifications in related expertise, including diversity, equity, and inclusion, and serves in multiple volunteer capacities. Suffice to say, I'm super excited to be joined by both of these brilliant women. So without further ado, please join me in welcoming Maritza and Paula.
Thank you.
So thank you so much for coming today. I'm not kidding when I say I'm super excited to have you here, especially since Maritza and I have some history and we've met in the past as well. And you are doing so much, so much in the state. But I don't imagine that little Maritza and little Paula really thought that what you're doing today, and especially doing it together, which makes it that much more, I guess, empowering, even though my guests know I'm not a huge fan of that word, but the two of you coming together are definitely empowering. But I don't imagine when you were little that this is what you imagined you wanted to do. So Paula, what did little Paula want to be when she grew up?
That's a great question. My father was very sick for a long time. And so I noticed how much help we would get from the hospital. And there was this really nice person that would meet us on a regular basis. And I thought in high school I wanted to be a counselor. I wanted to sort of connect people to resources and sort of help them deal with the crisis. However, when I signed up for college, I signed up for exercise science, believe it or not. And at that point in time, I thought I wanted to be a physical therapist. Little did I know that in reality, I ended up not healing bodies, but I feel like my work is really about healing minds and sort of helping people along the way. But yes, in and out of careers, I have found that what I wanted to be as a child was not a solid thing. Like it wasn't concrete and clear. But I feel I belong what I'm doing.
Okay.
Yes.
Which is awesome, and what we're all about. So, and Maritza, what did you want to be when you were little?
I think when you come from a family of individuals who really want you to succeed, I always joke that the career path was always either a doctor or a lawyer, right? And I grew up in Puerto Rico, so they really high regards for those kinds of professions, and very valuable. I actually worked in those fields during my college years to actually pay for college. But when I came here to the United States to study, because my idea was to come to college and have a profession, I was really driven more to the histories and opportunities within college that allow me to do leadership or management opportunities, clubs, groups that were really doing some service for others in the university. And although I worked in those fields and took classes during college, I quickly realized this is really not what I want to do. I worked at a health clinic and I worked with attorneys, and I said, I think I can do other things in a different way. And I was exposed to working with a nonprofit organization in Trenton by chance. I was doing something else that I love to do, another passion of mine, which is doing poetry and performing, and I was given an opportunity to take another position in Trenton, and I began to work with the Mercer County Hispanic Association in something completely unrelated to immigration or completely unrelated to medicine. And I found my passion there, understanding what we needed to do with the public and private sector and the collaborations that really needed to happen for programming to take place in order to help and do the things that Paula was mentioning in terms of her own passion of helping others. There's all this stuff that happens behind the scenes that people don't know. They just know that they're receiving support and assistance or they're creating programming. But I was really intrigued about all the behind the scenes that takes place to do that.
Now, each of you independently is a force to be reckoned with, making massive differences across the state. You came together. So tell me about how your friendship evolved into a partnership that you now operate today, in addition to these other activities that you're still doing. You know, I use the term dual career with purpose.
Yes. Definitely. So Maritza really met my husband first. We were dating in college, and she worked in a newspaper called Black Voice Carta Boricua.
Yes.
And my husband, then boyfriend, was a photographer, and Maritza was doing...
I was the managing editor of the newspaper.
Correct.
Okay.
So in college, I don't remember Maritza much. We met a few times. But when I was working at Consumer Credit Counseling, we had a meeting with Mecha to outreach to the Latino community. And at that point, I didn't know who we had a meeting with. My supervisor had set everything up, and when I sat down, it was with Maritza. And from there on, we started collaborating and really putting programs together and helping people understand budgeting and finance and how to purchase a home and how to connect to banks. And from we had so many things in common, and then we brought our family along. You know, if we had something to do, you know, they would help out, and then we found great comfort just supporting each other. You know, going through thinking about strategies on how to outreach, but also sort of validating each other and sort of thinking through problems.
That was really the key. I think that we were at a stage in our career, in our professional life, that we needed that other person to bounce ideas, to kind of just check things through, make sure that we're in the right path, the right roadmap, the right direction, right? I think it all ties into our name, right? And MAPA, which really means map, or, you know, a journey. And every time we had an activity or an event or something like that, we would also consult and talk about what should we do, what do you think about this? Or we would invite each other to each other's programs or events to speak about a topic or to be on a panel or to support one another. And I think from there, we really learned to work well together and play on our strengths. And also, I value her opinion greatly. So even when there are moments where you're really thinking, this is not the right path, to have someone that really can be honest with you and also help you navigate those aspects. I think there's a great element of trust to go into business together.
Okay. Now, before you went into business together, as I mentioned, and we talked just a little bit about, you were also both had these very successful roles in the nonprofit world. What would you say were, you touched a little bit on it, but if you could go into a little bit more detail, what were the top 3 reasons or individuals that inspired you to pursue the paths that you're on separately and together?
I have been reflecting a lot on this, and I can pinpoint the first time that I connected someone to a job. And that was really my mom. When my father passed away, that summer was really, really hard. And we had a really hard crisis in our family. And I took a walk, and that walk led me to the high school. And I shared what was going on, and I ended up at that time with a new job for my mom and a tuition rate that was much lower. And I've been thinking about sort of like what has led me to connect people to resources and create programs that matter. And I think that was the number one. Second, my first job out of college was working for Women's Space, which is a nonprofit organization that services individuals and families who are affected by interpersonal violence by providing a lot of resources and options. It was all about exploring options, exploring an opportunity to provide a safe place so that people could think through some options. And I think that particular experience solidified my wanting to do nonprofit work, and I can trace it all the way back. And everything that I've done in my career has been connecting people to resources, creating programs that matter, and making sure that internally we have the capability and the capacity to do better and to strategize and to learn the lessons and to do it now and then do it better and then do it better.
I mean, I think a similar path than Paula. I think what I would add to that is, for me, having the opportunities to be in internships and fellowships while I was in college just opened my world to other opportunities and different perspectives. And I've just have been so grateful for everyone who's really seen potential in me and given me an opportunity to try different things. So every time someone kind of took a moment and a pause to teach me something, to invite me to the table for a conversation, to let me know what other ways things can happen in this kind of field, I felt like, okay, this is something that's important. Others should have an equal opportunity or similar opportunities to be mentored, to be added to these conversations, to be included in those dialogues. And I'm very thankful for all of that. My first mentor, Frances Blanco at Mecha, she took that opportunity to really teach me a lot of the things that till this day I practice, and that diligence, that accountability, just never backing down and being able to truly support those around me as well. It's not just about me, but also about those around me. And I think we found ourselves also, because people saw what we were doing, others looking for us for some guidance and some support. And we found ourselves doing a lot of that behind the scenes with colleagues and professional colleagues that we have around throughout the state and even outside of the state, lending support, lending a listening ear, supporting them. And I said, okay, this really is the path that we want to go to, the path that I want to continue to pursue. So those mentors, those individuals that really invested and poured into me, are the reason I feel that I have landed where I am right now.
And now you're giving back and
We are,
and
yes.
developing others. So believe it or not, it's time for our mid-interview break. So after the break, we'll be back with more from Maritza and Paula about their work with the MAPA Collaborative and how they're changing the world together. welcome back to What the Why with Barbara Ann, and this afternoon's guests that I'm so honored to have with me, Maritza Raimundi Petroski and Paula Figueroa Vega.
You got it.
See, it's not just me. I'm not the only, I mean, really, we could run out the half hour just saying all of our names. But before the break, we were talking about things that influenced your paths individually. But in my own case, and it's the case of so many others, there's only so much you can do in your day jobs. So how did you find the courage to come together and tackle those additional things that you are outside of the scope of what you do in your other dual career lives?
I mean, I think we wanted, at least for myself, not to have just be defined by that one career. And I think as women and mothers and friends, we always kind of put everything and everyone else first. And we talked about this for years. We dreamed together for years. We put bucket lists together for years. We would sit around the kitchen table or around the fireplace at her house and kind of think about, wouldn't it be nice if we actually did something together? Maybe one day when we're much older, when we retire, we'll do this. And we even started playing with our initials, MAPA, Maritza, and Paula, and came up. We had a name even before we had our business registered. And so it was very real for us, right? Every time we talked, it was something that we both felt really passionate and strong about. And I think we inched a little bit each time we met, where we actually had a concept where we were thinking about how this might look like. And then I think just before the pandemic, we were in our careers, we were looking for something else, right? Something else to continue to keep that spark going and to keep that passion and that dream that we wanted to have. And we just had a conversation and said, we're going to do it. We're just going to do it. We're going to close our eyes and we're just going to do it.
I also am very observant, and so I would notice these young people having consultant firms, and we would connect with them through our nonprofit organization that we worked on both full times. And we were like, they have the guts to do it, at some point, there was a training, remember?
Yes.
That we never got to go because it was raining so much. But we signed up for the training, then they connected us to someone, and we just went ahead and registered the business. But the business plan really was so much earlier than
years
that.
Early.
Yes.
Yeah, years early.
And that's how we came together. And we like spending time together. So we call our projects our passion projects. They don't feel like work, and sometimes I'm like, Maritza, you sure you can do that? And she's like, yes, I do this while I do this, and I don't see it as work. And that's what really has been fun about MAPA Collaborative, is that we are choosing projects and connecting to organizations and people that we really want to support. And it does not feel like, a 9-to-5 job and you have to do this and you have to do that.
And there's no pressure. There's no pressure to do it. And we're able to actually, learning in the process and finding space and making space for one another for the things that really matter to us. And also being a role model for our daughters. We have girls, daughters, and they see us doing our 9-to-5 and our work, but they also see us having fun and doing other things as well. And we get to choose how to spend our time and who to spend time with as well. And it just gives us that opportunity.
And it's interesting that you brought up the other consulting companies, because there are a lot of consulting companies out there, but they're not all equal.
Correct.
And so what are the things, and I love the commercial, our viewers got to see your commercial as part of the commercial break, which is really awesome and very nicely done, and you'll have the opportunity to share your website information too. But that said, what are some of the things that makes you different? Where somebody's looking for a consulting firm.
Great. So some of our clients are Spanish-speaking. Their primary language is Spanish-speaking.
Yes.
So they can have a conversation with us in Spanish, even though the grant has to be submitted in English. Some of our clients are looking to connect to the Latinx community. And so, and they're looking for people that are involved and engaged in that. So that in itself is unique. But because we've also had such a rich background in experiences, we have a tool set that we can pull so many different examples and options for our clients. I think that's been really, really helpful.
Yeah, and we're also able to do the research, look at other resources. I mean, you're really getting, two for the price of one, if you're really looking at it. We pick up one another. We're kind of going from one side to the next, trying to make sure that our clients feel that we're being responsive to the needs that they have. And we've learned to pivot and kind of shift and change based on the needs that they may have. I think that's great. The language is a plus for sure, but also I would say the ability to work in a bicultural atmosphere as well. We both have lived outside of the country. We can bring some of that perspective as well. We get to relate to some of our clients, and that does makes a difference.
And we've worked in so many different sectors in terms of,
Education.
with families affected by interpersonal violence, right? With substance use disorders, with children in maternal and health care. Right now with environmental justice, and it just so there are many of I call myself a generalist. I know a little bit about a lot of things, and because I love to learn. And I'm a lifelong learner. If I don't know, I'll figure it out. But also, we learn to evolve the way that we do things, because what we did 10 years ago is not what we do nowadays. And so the language evolves, the strategies evolve, the awareness evolves, and hopefully some of the systems will evolve with that.
Yes, hopefully, and I know that you'll be part of changing that as well, because you've worked with nonprofits and for-profits and even some government, from what I understand. So you get to be part of changing those systems. If there was let me reframe this. What myth do people have about the industry that you're in that you would like to debunk?
What myths do people have? Well, I think, what, I'll use Maritza as an example. She has a hard time calling herself an expert.
Okay. Yeah, I could see, because she's very humble.
Exactly. And I keep reminding her, we have the experience, we have the educational background, and we love to learn, we can do it. And people are looking for that support. And so I think one of the myths is that you have to be either perfect to kind of do this type of work, but there's so many different skills that, and that's what diversity is about, bringing different skills and different perspectives, and the way that we look at the world, and that the way that we interact with the world, that we can enhance someone else's journey, and we can help them along, and we can, help them define what roadmap they want, and we can kind of partner with them. We're not in the business of prescribing a perfect solution for a problem. We're in the business of exploring in partnership and collaborating, and that's why the collaboration piece of our name is so important, because there's no right or wrong. Yeah, and so there's this strategy, and then there's the emergent strategy, the one where you have to kind of pivot a little bit this way, a little bit that way, to get to where you're going.
And learning how to utilize those resources well. So when there are opportunities that we know we aren't able to meet, or we aren't able to do well, that collaborative piece always comes into play. I think that giving opportunities to others to do the work, referring work to other partners in the community, other consulting firms that may have a different expertise in one area. I think that doing that also have allowed us to have trust and build trust with the community, but also with our business partners that oftentimes would call us and say, I can't do this. Would you be willing to take on this role? And then we would consult and decide if it's a fit for us and for the client, and then make that decision. But to Paula's point in terms of the expertise, it's true. She tells me all the time, and I think that's important to know for someone who's looking into doing business, because because we're going through this process at the same time that we're building a business and building this journey for ourselves, I think that our clients can see that we're very genuine in the process, that we have gone through it just as they are going through it themselves. It's an easy conversation. And we learn a lot about each other. I call her my accountability partner, right? So she holds me accountable. And every professional needs someone, regardless of the business, to have
I got one.
that person.
Actually, I got a couple.
Yes.
You're right. You're so right.
Yeah.
You need someone, yeah.
You do. And so I will validate you by showing that the actual definition, useless trivia that I have, the actual definition of an expert is someone with a minimum of 10,000 hours of experience.
Oh, we got it covered.
Check.
So,
Check.
so you, if that helps you feel validated that you're an expert, I'm more than happy to share that useless trivia that I will never be on Jeopardy to be asked the question.
You never know.
So in terms of the different things you do, one of the things that you mentioned was DEI, diversity, equity, inclusion, and you don't just go in and teach about DEI, you help actually implement, develop strategies around that. So we're probably going to run out of time. So how do you approach diversity, equity, inclusion in a way that's slightly different from what others might do?
I think that the clients that we've worked with in recent months and recent years with that, they were really interested in knowing more about the population and knowing more about, as Paula mentioned, outreach strategies and connection, and build a sense of trust with those communities. I think that people confuse diversity with just ethnic or language, and so moving away from that aspect, it's very important for us, just really understanding the population that they're working with, who are their constituents, who is their market, what is it that they want to do, how does it fit into strategic planning. I think it's also very important. Many times they know the answers, right? They know the direction that they want to go towards, and they have worked with many groups, but they need to really improve in some areas, whether it is in their HR department, or they need to diversify their board, or they need to really educate their staff about the population that they're working with, but also thinking short term as well, right? What are they doing now? What they can improve on? Because some organizations are doing a lot of work, but they may not see it as DEI work or diversity, equity, inclusion, or belonging work. We're certainly not experts in that field, in that term, but we feel that we can, from our experiences and the work that we've done throughout the different organizations that we work with, we feel that we can bring something to the table and help them think through and strategize and conceptualize and kind of think beyond the work that they're doing day to day. It's not about translating work, it's not about doing translations, it's not about doing the right thing, it's really doing what's best for the community and for the organization long term.
Okay.
Yes, I mean, I would add that I was just sharing with her. I am beyond the sort of awareness piece to like, I want to see how it's showing up in your calendar. Who are you meeting with? Who's around the table? Do they have power? And I am beyond sort of servicing a particular community. Are they in your board? Who's, like, what powerful positions within the organization are you offering? Because I'm a little burnt out about talking about, terms and concepts and whether or not this exists. Now we need to kind of move beyond that. And, in the policy level, we need to legislate sometimes fairness and justice, as opposed to just becoming aware. And so it's time for action.
I would so love to talk with you both more about this, because this is something that's definitely in my space, for lack of better words, as well. And but we are out of time, believe it or not. So thank you so much, Maritza and Paula, for coming on the show and sharing your journeys separately and together when you have such busy schedules, as you can only imagine. What is the best way for people to connect with you? Both individually as well as your website?
Sure. So our website is mapacollab, MAPACOLLAB.com. And you can find us in Facebook, you can find us in Instagram, in LinkedIn. And you can find Maritza and I via our name in LinkedIn. So, you know, feel free to call us. Our emails are our initials, PFV at Mapa Collab and MRP at Mapa Collab. So, yes.
Awesome.
They can reach out to us.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you so much.
Oh, pleasure, seriously. I mean, I hope our audience is inspired. I mean, both of these women are phenomenal, and this is just a glimpse into the many amazing things that they do. And we didn't even talk about the translation assistance that you provide and scholarships that you now offer as part of the MAPA Collaborative. So they're doing so much, so please do check them out online. Now, next week, we have a holiday. I'm not entirely sure how that's going to work, so stay tuned for more information about that. But I am excited to announce that in the weeks following that, we have Christine Frake, who is an integrative health and wellness coach with the Healthful Body. And then many of our regular viewers know that I train in martial arts, and my own sensei, Master Stefano Cinelli of Suruki Martial Arts LLC, will be coming on the following week. And we have some other really exciting guests lined up for you that have done everything from serve presidents to own their own businesses. Suffice to say, you really do not want to miss out on any of the upcoming guests that we have as they share their journeys in our upcoming episodes and what they have to say about how they figured out what their why is. As a reminder, What the Why airs on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 1 p.m. and on Mondays at 3:30 p.m. It's also available on demand through RVN Television and Roku. So whether you're looking to make changes in your life or career, big or small, please join us again for more inspirational and informative conversations with people like Maritza and Paula, who wanted to make changes and overcame barriers, obstacles, other careers, which they still maintain, to find their purpose and live it.